Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting the channel via PayPal or Patreon. You'll find the links in the video description. I'm continuing my series looking at World Championship blunders. I started with Steinitz and Chigorin, and I'm skipping a couple of decades and moving on to the celebrated match between Capablanca and Alekhine that took place in Buenos Aires in 1927. The invincible Capablanca, José Raúl Capablanca from Cuba, who defeated Lasca in 1921, 100 years ago. In fact, I looked at that match earlier this year. Do check out the playlist where you can look at those games. So, a fascinating match, actually. And his challenger, Alexander Alekhine, a Russian emigre who became a French citizen. And Capablanca had this reputation as yes, as I said, it being somehow invincible. And he had won a tournament in New York earlier in 1927, won convincingly, and he went unbeaten in that tournament. Alekhine was second, Capablanca won it. So going into this match, Capablanca was the clear favourite. So this is game one. I should say that my selection for these World Championship blunders is purely subjective. They're just the games that spring to mind and feature, well, the personalities that I'm interested in as well. Capablanca with the white pieces, a winner were slightly unusual opening for Alekhine to play, actually. And Capablanca, well, he plays it pretty safe, playing a form of the exchange variation. Actually, I quite like this variation for white. The exchange variation against bishop b4 is actually can be quite a dangerous system for white if you play a3 in this position. I've played this myself in a few games, and it's not bad, actually. It's quite reasonable. You know, you're hoping to play with the two bishops here, and of course that bishop can be quite good. But okay, that's for another time, another discussion. But instead of a3, Capablanca plays knight e2, and this is very tame. And Alekhine immediately puts his finger on, well, the problem that white has here. I mean, this is just too dry. And this system with knight e7 and bishop f5 is well known to give black a very easy game. The nice thing about black's position is that black hasn't castled yet. So it's possible to go the other way. Black keeps options open. So, you know, often people think the exchange variation can be very dull. Actually, it can be quite dynamic, of course, if the king goes the other way. So already, I mean, I think black is equalised here. Bishop takes bishop. Knight takes, and queen d3. Queen d7 protects the knight and gives black the option to go queenside or kingside, depending on how white plays. And Capablanca's next move strikes me as slightly odd. I mean, I don't see there's anything wrong with, for example, just playing bishop f4 here, just developing normally. But Capa played knight d1. It's a bit passive. Alekhine decided not to castle queenside, but just to go castles kingside. Knight e3, so that's Capa's idea. So he's basically decided, well, the knight wasn't doing much on c3. He's brought it to e3 to exchange this one off. But after this exchange and rook e8, it's quite clear that black is very comfortable. That's all we can say. Black does not have an advantage at this moment, but it's comfortable when you have two minor pieces lined up on the e-file. I mean, obviously, white needs to get a rook to the e-file. So already we can say that it's really white that's trying to equalize this position, basically. So not a good start from Capa. Reasonable moves here. knight g3, bishop f4, they're all fine, but knight f4 is a little bit strange. Bishop d6 is an excellent move. Again, I don't objectively, black does not have the advantage, but it just puts a little bit of pressure on white. So for example, if knight takes pawn, then black would take here. So material is even, but you know, black is very active. Again, objectively, you know, after king g1, white should be okay, but it doesn't feel very nice when black is so well developed. Capel played rook fe1. Knight b4. Already there is pressure mounting. Probably the queen should come back here, but queen b3. And now queen f5. And this is very, very uncomfortable for white. And here, okay, remember, the series is World Championship Blunders, and Kappa makes a dreadful tactical error. Now this would have nothing to do with time pressure. We're just out of the opening. This is move 15. It's just a terrible oversight. Although I should say that, you know, game one in a match or in a tournament, there are often a lot of nerves in that opening game. And that's certainly evident here, actually not just from Kappa, as we'll see later on. Okay, what should white play here? I should say that Kappa blundered with rook c1. It's just a tactical mistake. I mean, afterwards, you know, Kappa thought that knight d3 should just give equality. But this endgame, ooh, that is very unpleasant. Now, you know, maybe if you're a computer or you've got boundless energy and you have nerves of steel, you can hold that. But I tell you what, if, for example, Magnus Carlsen had that position with black, he would relish playing that. I mean, this is obviously ugly. But black can gain space over here. Black can try and gain space on the king side. You know, there is a lot of play in that position. So basically, yes, rook c1, as we're going to see, is a horrible blunder. But actually, it's the moves leading up to that that are also really poor. Kappa played a series of inaccuracies that simply led him to a difficult position. And this is kind of the icing on the cake. It's simply a tactical mistake because Alekhine took on c2. Now, if queen takes, and then bishop f4, there's a pin. This is the whole point. And in the game, rook takes knight, and queen takes. Again, a simple pin. If bishop takes queen, then rook takes rook is mate. So Alekhine is a clear pawn up after just 17 moves. Now that is absolutely dreadful. Let's see how the game went. g3 stops queen h2 check, necessary. And queen f5, yep, keeps an eye on that rook, so queen b7 is impossible. I mean, just to add to white's woes, the king side here is also rather weakened, and this is a pretty dreadful bishop on e3. Queen b5, Kappa is kind of probing, trying to find a way in. h5, excellent. Solves the back rank problem and also prepares to attack. I mean, this is just a dream position for black, really. Rook e4, there's, you know, ideas potentially to sacrifice and checkmate. Bishop d2 from Capablanca, I think it's a good practical try. Otherwise, white is just going to be overrun. I mean, in this position, dare I say it, the queen is in Siberia. This is a problem. And you know, black just has such an easy attack on the king. So I think this is kind of necessary to complicate it. Alekhine took the pawn. He could have just supported the rook. There was some discussion about this position afterwards. Well, a lot of discussion. And this position was debated. It seems to me this still offers black very good winning chances, because the queen is pretty dangerous here. It has lots of things to hit, basically. Anyway, Alekhine took the pawn. It's also good. So he's now 2 pawns up, but white does have some activity. Bishop e5. So Capa is fighting hard. Rook e5. So it's getting a little bit tricky. There's some activity here. The queen has to keep hold of this one. Got to watch out for the back rank as well. Queen f3. Rook takes h5. So that sort of little bit of activity that Capablanca generated has paid dividends. He's got one of the pawns back. He's still a pawn down, but it's starting to get complicated. Black's king is a little bit exposed. And there is a threat of mate, indeed. Well, here Alekhine played in a kind of straightforward way. He just took the rook. This is a tricky position. A tempting move is rook e6. And, there are some nice tactics here. If rook takes rook, rook d1 check, and rook h1 mate. However, after rook e6, I'm sure you've spotted it, queen e8 check turns the tables. A nice x-ray. And that is checkmate. Very nice. So Alekhine just took the rook. Very understandable. Interesting. My computer thinks that rook h6 is the best move. Just exchanging off that active rook. And thinks that black is doing very well there. I mean, rook h6 is not a very human move, splitting the pawns, and even just rook e5. But the computer likes it. It's interesting. But anyway, that's for the record. What Alekhine did is a very human response. He just got rid of one of the active pieces. So Alekhine with black, still a pawn up. Queen d1 and rook e6 played. Well, I think a good move. This rook is active. It's good to exchange it off. And then the queen and pawn endgame. Black is a pawn up. This d pawn is strong, so that's reasonable. Rook a8. So keeping an active rook's good idea from Capablanca. And here Alekhine played rook e5. He gives up a pawn, sort of maintaining this strong central position. But rook e5 is a mistake. I mean, this is where I think, we're seeing Alekhine's nerves as well. Now, I don't know whether he might have been in time pressure. But rook e5 is a mistake. As Averbach pointed out, first of all, d4 is an excellent move. This basically just starts pushing that pawn down the board. Once this pawn starts rolling, then the queen is tied down. The queen and the rook are split. Black is beautifully coordinated. Black is doing really well. And the tactical point is this, that after queen takes pawn, rook e1 check, and queen c6 wins, threatening mate, as well as queen takes rook. So it's a really nice move. And of course, if something like rook d8, c5, you can see that black is completely dominant in the center. Yeah, a wonderful position. I mean, actually, Alekhine gets something similar, but now Capa is back in the game. Material is now even. I mean, obviously, Alekhine intended this, getting this big center, but playing d4 immediately would have speeded up the whole operation. Yeah, queen f3 is a better move here. Gives white a better chance to defend. Rook d7 is a mistake. Queen e6, and this basically allows Alekhine to just centralize beautifully. Hits the rook, threatens rook e1 check. The king is safe. Queen d3, check played, and then rook d8, d4. Yeah, you can see the difference. These pieces are split. Black is beautifully coordinated, and now the attack on the king is coming. Let's see how it finished. Rook e1 check, queen c6. So it's kind of similar to the idea where black was winning a rook in that variation, but this doesn't win a rook. I mean, obviously the king can't step aside because of the attack. And if queen f3, rook g1 check wins the queen. But it forces f3. And once the second rank is exposed, then the king is in massive trouble. Queen e6, there we go. Beautiful coordination. Very simple method by Alekhine. Threatening rook e2 check. g4, rook e2. Check, the king steps up. Queen e3, the queen invades. Queen h1 and queen f4. Here apparently the game was adjourned. Up at h5. Rook f2 was the final move, threatening to take here. And if h takes g6 check. King g7. No more checks, and black breaks through with an inevitable win. So, yeah, for me that qualifies as one of the worst World Championship blunders. You know, where was Kappa's sense of danger? In this position, he just lost a pawn for nothing. Knight d3, well, it would be a very unpleasant endgame to defend, but, you know, if you're Kappa, maybe you've got a chance to defend it. And not just this move, rook c1, this tactical error, but the moves leading up to that were inaccurate, rather passive. From Capablanca, not a great game, and of course we know what happened in the match. So, more World Championship blunders coming your way soon. I'll be shifting on a few years. I'm going to leave the Kappa Alekhine match. More coming your way soon.